Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researcher Celebrities. Today we have Dr. Aditi Agrawal with us. A brief about Aditi. She has done her bachelor's in botany honors from Banastali Vidyapith and pursued master's in bioinformatics also from Banastali. For doing her PhD, she joined ICGEB where he got a degree in biotechnology. Following the passion for the research, she got award of Women Scientist from DST at NBIR, and currently she is Digital Insight Support at Qiagen. With this brief introduction, we will welcome Dr. Aditi at the platform. Welcome, Dr. Aditi. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Raja, for inviting me for this conversation.
So we always start our conversation by saying that how and when you decided that you wanted to become a researcher.
Okay. So, sir, it was nothing like that. There was a time when I decided. I obviously, for I guess 90% of the people, I also wanted to be a doctor, but it didn't work out. I didn't appear for an exam due to some family's issue. So I got first break in ICGB during my MSc dissertation. And at that time, I find out that ICGB is a big institute and everything. And then there only I got exposed to the research, science, actual research. And then I just went with the flow. Then I joined GRF. Then I cleared CSIR, NAT. And then when I was working there, and I find it like, okay, let's do a PhD. So I did a PhD, and then I guess after that I feel it like more into science. So now I can relate more with the subject. More, I find more attract to the science now. Yeah.
So you mentioned about your first exposure to research was during your tenure at ICGEB. So
Yes.
when you were doing your master's and bachelor's and happened to be joining at ICGEB, what were the things which forced you to make up your mind to do a PhD first?
Um, First of all, sir, we don't have many options after coming out from MSc and BSc because it is not a professional degree. You don't get a professional degree. And at that time, sir, it was about like 2011, I joined ICGB. And like after 2009, I completed my master's in 2009. So there was not many options, or I would say I was not aware about this, that I can go to industry as well. And so I find this path okay, like it's just like okay, another degree, or we can do one career option is PhD. So yes, while working in ICGB only, I decided to enroll for the PhD.
So after taking that decision and the commitment towards the PhD degree, because I believe that you might have an idea before signing that paperwork that now you will be a PhD student. So the feeling before signing and the feeling during the entire period, if you can share the journey with us.
Okay, so initially it is like you are doing science, you are working, but you are not very committed to it. It will be feeling like a job to you. Like you are coming and going and you are just working. Once you enroll in PhD, you will feel more committed to your work, that you have a topic, you have to achieve something, you have to find out something unique which is not already there. So yeah, at that time I decided like it is good to be in a subject because you take up a topic in your PhD and you have to do research on that topic and you have to make a thesis. So yeah, it was a good learning being in ICGB because it was a very nice institute. You have a lot of facility there. So it was a nice time, I must say, but research has its all ups and downs. So yeah, one time I had this experience that I for an experiment, it took me 9 months and it didn't come out positive. And it was a northern blotting and it includes radioactivity. So at the time when you are in science and you are in PhD, you will be so much into this that you don't think about what will be the consequences. So it was a very long period that I got exposed to radioactivity. And then I realized like I should have avoided that. I should have find out the alternative way to do an experiment. And it must not be like you must think about your health as well. And then yeah, finally I got my result positive. And then after that, I guess it was smooth. So in PhD, it will be once like it will be having so many ups and downs. One sometimes you are getting results, sometimes you are not getting results. Sometimes your PIs want some certain results from the data, and which is not there in data, and they want you to be have the data. So yeah, there are so many things you have to take care, but it is a good learning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this here I would like to say to all the audience that one point which should be learned and to take home from Aditi's conversation right now is like be informed. Sometimes you might be handling biohazardous material. So you should be very informed about it, the uses, the disposal, all of those, and always keep your health and safety first when you are performing an experiment in the lab because it might hamper you in a longer run. And now coming back to the results. So we all know that the majority of the experiments didn't turn out the way you want or your PI wants. So then what now, because you are in the field for so long, what are the suggestions you can tell to the researchers who are currently doing their PhD that how they should approach a problem?
Okay, so first thing I want to address by this platform is we you have to read a lot, like especially in an Indian science scenario I have seen. And now when I am in a custom support, I am seeing it too much, that a person is enrolling in a PhD, he is doing science, he is going out, he is in very good university or institute in US, but he don't have a background or basic knowledge. So before starting your experiment or before or after enrolling to PhD, I must say that they should do a proper research. Their basics should be clear, and they have the thorough research. Like we have this review of literature, we don't take it very seriously. So I must say it. Your basics should be very clear once you decide to be in PhD. Either you don't do PhD, but once you are doing PhD, it is not just an experiment. I agree that there will be a lot of hurry when you do PhD because your PI will be saying, okay, I have to present my that data, so I need a result by end of the week. I have to submit a report to the funding agency. Oh, so it was there, it will be there, it was there, and it will always be there. But we have to get a good result and to get a meaningful outcomes. One person should have proper knowledge of the subject. Right now, I'm seeing it a lot of people just running a tool. They don't know basic about it. They are just running the tool and then they will be coming back. Okay, this is not working, and how this function should work. And I am not getting the result the way I want. And it will be very basic things. So my advice is like, please first read, and then make an informative decision, and then start experimenting.
Nice. So this is for all the PhD students who are facing problem in their experiments. Aditi just mentioned about the role and the importance of review of literature. Before designing or before performing an experiment on the bench, you should be dry run that experiment multiple times in your notebooks. And once you are 100% sure that now you know the depth of the instrument, the basics of the experiment which you are performing, and as also Aditi mentioned about the tools. So if you are using some bioinformatic tools and you might not be very confident about it, but then that's where the role of the troubleshooting comes anyways. So just be very well informed and equipped when you are starting any experiments. This will reduce the chances of the failures and the stress it brings along with it. So, Aditi, all the failed experiments bring a lot of stress.
That's true.
People have seen it for ages and currently are presenting, but now the things are probably going way over the head. And we have seen PhD dropouts after 4 years, 5 years, and in very sad circumstances, people do commit suicide. So, what you can share from your journey and when you have seen your peers doing or going through that tough time, how they should handle that?
So, sir, for PhD or for any subject, I want to say it is not, if you are not getting any experiment, if results are not coming, it is not the end of the world. If you have capability and if you have desire to do it, you will get to complete it anyhow. If it does not happen, then there will be something else is written for you, and you will get that. So if experiment is not working, it's okay. In PhD, I guess we have this leverage that we can always mold it. If one experiment is not working, you can always try another experiment, right? And for other subjects also, or for any professional, I just get disheartened whenever I heard about this suicide. So first of all, I guess what I learned from my experience, that you should not be in a lab which is harassing you in any form. You should be working under your working hours. If you are working after hours, it should be your wish that you want to complete your work and not your PIs. And then it is all just you should always enjoy your work and not get pressurized by work. If you are not getting any result, I guess you can work out. You just need to talk to somebody. It is in science, especially, you always have to talk to somebody. You will be having seniors, you will be having other colleagues or your PI if he is approachable. Just talk, and again, I will say you have to read it a lot. If one thing is not working, and now internet and everything is accessible to you, right? So if you and you can do collaborations as well. If and I also want to point out about it, like you cannot be expert in everything. If you think that one experiment is not working for and you are not able to do it, just give it to somebody else. In science, what I feel it like my back was, at that time we want to do everything by myself. Okay, and it is like just you. So by this approach, you cannot go long way, because you need a army, you need so much support, you need a collaboration to have a great work. Like I see in nature communication and all, there will be a lot of author, and they will be having a very good finding, because they all have their certain expertise in subject, and they are just focusing on this. In India especially, I'm feeling that you want to do everything by yourself, and at the end of the day, then you are getting frustrated that, oh, you are not able to do anything, or you are not getting results. So just chill. Like, you have to imbibe this thing that no, it is okay to collaborate, it is okay to give ask for help, and otherwise also it is okay to get failed.
Nice. So this is very important part for all the researchers that one man army is an exception in research, especially with the current scenario where people, as Aditi just mentioned about the interdisciplinary research, people from different backgrounds, different expertise come together and work towards a research question. And the impact of it obviously is way more than if only one person has to do the task because of the different ideas and the different aspects of the same issue that is they are trying to acknowledge. Second thing also, that the things which you should consider before committing to a lab for your PhD, that it can be so personal that Aditi just mentioned about the lab timings, about the approachability of the PI, the lab environment, how, like, if you feel that you belong to the place, then only, and this is one thing which we always talk about repeatedly, that you, if you're thinking and already had made up your mind that you want to do a PhD, then consider Anywhere from 3 to 5 years, you will be in that lab for most of your time. For these years, you will be spending that time in there. And if you don't think that you don't belong to that, just don't join it. Probably the science might be the most fascinating science if you are interested in that part, or anything else. The sometimes we have seen in India that people just go by the name of the PI, and there are labs where it's like three different generations of PhD students are working. So the one which are enrolled, the one which will be enrolling after one of the senior passing out of the lab, and even the follow-up of that. So those three generation of PhD students in the same time in the lab is, I don't know, everyone's choice if you think that that is the path you want to take, but always keep your happiness as your priority, because there will be stress, there will be fruits, there will be accomplishments which you will be achieving through this journey. But one thing which is the most important part is that how content you are while doing it, how comfortable you are with this. So, Aditi, people nowadays days do talk about women in STEM, women in research, women in everything. What you have felt in academia as well as the research institutes in India, or what were your experiences if you have seen any change over the decade?
Okay, so I was fortunate enough to be in Dr. Raj Bhattagar's lab. I guess he was and he is the coolest PI one can get. So he was a person you can always go, you can always approach, and you can always share your problems, and he will be understanding all the times. Right? If you have some personal issue, he will ask you to take a time off, and you have to manage your own work. So he won't be checking that when you are coming, when you are going. I guess all the ICGB has this environment, and they are not very bound to the time. It's just you have to finish your work. But at the same time, in so many places, especially I guess government institutes and everywhere, they are so much rigid about the timings, about taking off, about working from home. So, sir, it is very, very difficult to work in that environment. Being a woman, being a mother, especially when I am a mother myself, it is very difficult to manage everything if your workplace is not very flexible for you, because there are timings when your kid needs your support and you cannot take off, or you are not you don't want to compromise on your work. So at that time I guess you want to work from home. So nowadays I guess there are so many schemes where you talk about women can join certain institute after a gap. They give this so many fellowships as well. One included the women scientists. There are various way, but still I would say that India has to go a long way in this. When FPI, or especially, yeah, either it is a male PI or female PI, they have to understand this. If a woman is working, she is at home, she will be working, and if she is in a lab, she will be working. So they should be more considerate about it, that women, if she is committed to work or science, she will get the things done. And yeah, they should be more considerate about it.
So now this brings us to another important topic about the time management, which is true for irrespective of the gender, that males and females, everyone has to manage their time, their resources, and their commitment towards research or family. One thing which we know is that the family or the friends are the pillar of any human existence. So I will ask Aditi about the role of the family and friends when all of your experiments or nothing is working for your research life. How does that, what you have felt and what you suggest to the other researchers?
Okay, so sir, first of all, family support is so much essential, especially now in today's environment. When you have a nuclear family, you just be like your husband, wife, and kid is there. And if you want to success in your life, especially in research, when you are doing PhD, you need a lot of emotional, mental, and physical support. So it is very much necessary for a family or a life partner to support you in any way. So, like if you are going to a lab, like because there are nowadays after COVID, it is an advantage that people can work from home. So either if one partner can work from home and one has to go to office or lab, it is very much essential. And I guess this is the only way you can survive in this world and you can excel in your career.
Nice. So now we will talk about the challenges in academia as well as in versus with industry. So now you are currently in industry.
Correct.
So how the research is different in these two places, and what are your suggestions and recommendations to the coming generation of researchers?
Okay, so sir, first of all, people should be very clear what they want in life. If you are very patient, if you can work really hard in like consistency wise, and you are good in writing papers, you are good in writing grants, then you should opt for academia. And you want basic and university or institute setup, then you should consider academia. Otherwise, nowadays, I guess students are much aware about how the path should be. So after MSc, there is pretty much chances, and I would suggest that if a person wants to go in an industry, then I guess he can just after PhD he can apply to the industry and he can very much excel in that. As in an industry, they don't consider you like you are coming from a PhD, so you should get a higher position. They will considering you as a fresher. And if you are starting from MSc, you will be like excelling in your path, because in PhD you will be spending minimum of 5 years of your career. And if you go to postdoc and then you want to join an industry, there will be a lot of leap. And if you are very clear, especially for bioinformatics, I feel if and it depends on your goal as well. If you just want to earn money, if your aim is to just earn money, just go to industry and start from very beginning. If you are passing MSc and you are joining industry after I guess 3 and 4 years, you will be at a very good position. But if your aim is to be into a science and in academic background, in an institute background, you are antho regarding teaching students, or you are very good in writing papers, writing grants, then I guess you should consider academia.
Absolutely. I think, and this brings us to another point of the SWOT analysis, that you should be very thorough about your own analysis, that what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the opportunities you're looking for. Because if you, as Aditi just mentioned, that if you feel very comfortable with writing, with presenting, with mentoring, with teaching students, then probably academia is one thing for you. But it now with this hybrid structure that there are industry and academia collaborations, so you might have the opportunity to do both at the same time. But again, you should know that what you really want out of your research. B, you should be very focused about it also, because when you are a PhD student, you are only responsible for yourself. But once you are a PI, or even if it is an industry or in academia, now you're responsible for all the students who are doing their research with you. So these are all those small considerations which you should always think before committing to any role. So now, Aditi, going back to the research part, what part of the research you have enjoyed the most in your life, and what is one part, if given opportunity, that you want to change over the time you would have changed?
Okay, so one thing is I should be more like as I mentioned before, I should have read more. I should have more aware about the subject. And like people are nowadays very clear about the subject what they want. Okay, I was no, I just took the things as they came into my life, but I feel if I can change the thing now, I want to go back where my interest lies. I always want to, and still I want to work with rare diseases or the where I can directly help people like in applied science. I am very much interested in this. So, but like at first when I got dissertation, it was in plant biology. So I just took that, and then my PhD was also in crop pest. It was good. I really enjoyed that as well. But still, I would prefer to be in applied science, especially at human side, where I can directly benefit the society. So one thing I want to change that. The other thing, what I enjoyed most is the learning. It was very good timing. So you learn a lot because you have so much time and you have to achieve something to get your thesis done. And there will be a lot of failure and your victory, and you will be learning a lot. So the journey was beautiful. I got to meet so many nice people, and my PI was very good. So yes, and it was my first time I was outside Rajasthan. Okay, I came from a small town, and I was the first person to came out from my place to study. So it was a nice exposure. In ICGB, there was a lot of international student as well. So it gives you a nice learning. So the journey was beautiful.
So now this brings us to two more important points. Like first one to all the audience that figure out your interest because that is which might or might not keep on changing because we have seen the studies has shown that one person in their lifetime on an average has changed their career from 4 to 5 different times. So this says that the interests do change over the period of time, but it is good at your early stage if the more focused you are, the more clear you are in that where your research interest lies, it will help you big time. Second thing, which Aditi also brings out about how research gives you wings. No matters how big, small, town, city, village you come from, once you are in research, it gives you all the wings to travel the world, to meet people from all over the world again. And this, let's talk about the contribution of conferences and meetings you have attended nationally and globally.
I was not fortunate enough to attend any international conference, but yeah, it helps a lot. So I remember, and I still am, I have a little of stage phobia. Okay, so presenting your work was a bit of task, and you will be always hesitant to present your work. But obviously, if you are in a PhD and if you are a research, there is only way you can present your work to the world is through conferences. So I'm not sure in PhD I was very confident to do that, but when I was women scientist, I got a lot of chances to present my work. So one time I was in Hyderabad. There was an international conference, and I presented my work, and I was very confident because I was very happy about what I achieved in my work. And I remember my director, my institute director, she was very happy about it that I presented nicely. And she immediately messaged everyone on the institute that, oh, Aditi is here and she presented very nicely. And she was very proud of it. And by hearing from a director of the institute, I was very happy that, okay, I achieved something. So, yes, sir, it is very much essential and very good platform to present your work and forget about even work. It is very good for your personality because one or two times you may be matched up, but at the third time you get your confidence and If you are very much confident about your work, then I guess it gives you a confidence to present your work nicely. And there was one, I attended a Indian Congress summit here as well, and then here also I presented work, and I see that people's reaction, they were very happy about the work I presented, and I got first prize in that poster. And that gives me confidence ki no, it is good to present your work, and there's only way that you can show your work to words. So yes,
Uh,
it is very essential.
Absolutely. And this is for all the PhD students specifically, that conferences are your place where you interact with probably your prospective postdoc or your professors or the peers which you will be working in your future. So in Dr. T. Adak's word, that PhD is a training which trains you for rest of your life. It's not just an academic degree. As Aditi just clearly mentioned, that presenting your work is one of the very important tasks of any researcher. Doing research brilliantly in the lab is one thing, but making the same conversation with a person who either cannot understand it fully or to your own peer who can absolutely know all the nitty-gritties of it. This is equally important. And people always say that the benchmark is if you can talk to your grandparents, and this is for the people who are the first generation college going, because we have families in India which are like four generations in research also. So this is only for them. If you are the first generation going to college, attending PhD, getting that degree, and if you can communicate your research to your grandparents, then that is how it shows that you are a good communicator in a way, which is integral part of again with your research. Because after getting PhD, either it is for postdoc or it is for faculty positions or for anything else, the first thing which you have to do is present your work, what you have done, how confident you are about it, and how passionate you are about it. These are the three things which are deciding when you are applying for positions and getting that. So these are the small pits, I will say, that if you feel that you are not very trained for it, then I will suggest that practicing is the thing, because it says that practice makes everyone perfect, be a man or a woman. So that is up to you. But one thing which now I will ask Aditi, what we have seen is like people approach research in two ways. One, who have seen their path all the way throughout, like starting, we have had researcher celebrities which like at the age of 5 or 10, they were like, oh, we want to become an entomologist, and they were very successful. Then there were researcher celebrities who were like, whatever we found, we kept on going it, and then again, they become very successful. Now, according to you, what are the most important parameters which decides the success of a researcher?
Sir, first of all, I would say if you are enjoying what you are doing, it is a great parameter to see if you are successful or not. Because at the end of the day, if you are enthusiastic about some work you are doing, it will, the way you approach the work, it will be completely different than you are just, okay, it is my job and I have to do it. There will be difference in science, in outcoming and everything. So one aspect is like it should make you excited about your work. You should be happy seeing your results, and all over it, like you should be happy about the outcomes you are getting. So if you are happy about it, then I guess it is successful. And at last, I guess if you say it like if you are getting a lot of research paper publication in very high impact factor, it is again a debatable concept because it highly depends on the area you are working. Like the animal field, you will be having the higher impact factor. Clinical side, you will be having more highly impact factor than in a plant and other things. So it is a, I guess, in my view, it is a debatable concept. If you have very highly impact, full research paper, then you are successful. But in my way, either your research is contributing to the science, to the society in any way. Either it is a basic science or applied science. If your outcomes are actually helping building the science community, and it is good. If you are just, I am very fascinated about this, that I can help people directly. It's like my research is directly benefiting a patient who is suffering from a hereditary disease or something. You can do that. It is nothing like that. But your research should benefit somebody. It is not just for the sake of a job. It is not a job. If you are in a field, it is your moral responsibility, especially I'm talking in terms of India, where people just be in science because they did not get any other options. So they treat JRF, SRF, or PhD as any other job. But in my view, if you are if you are spending money of government, it is your moral responsibility to give an outcome which should be benefit to the society or the scientific community.
This brings us to another very important point about the moral research. Now people started talking about it because for the competition of publishing, we have seen people doing like, and I don't know if it is a good idea to talk about it or not, but at Empowering Science Foundation, we believe in breaking the barriers. And this is one of the barrier that when a student or a PI is forced to do certain things where they have to manipulate their data, where they are doing unethical things, where or probably immoral too, that what you will suggest that if a PI or a PhD student is getting this pressure from their PI to manipulate the data, how they should stand that?
Clearly, sir, there won't be an end of the word. If your heart doesn't allow it, just don't do it. Like, I am very clear in the thing that I cannot do this thing, so I won't do it. You just have to clearly mention this to your PI. If he understand, that's okay. If he don't, then choose your path nicely, because at the end of the day you have to give answers to yourself. And if you are not happy about it, that's what I told you, that if you are doing a research, it is your moral responsibility to contribute towards scientific community or the people who will be benefited from science. That is the main reason I am not very fascinated about the academia research, especially in science India, because there are so many places. I'm not saying everywhere, but yeah, there are so many places that this thing is happening. Sometimes you, okay, I will give you an example. Sometimes being a bioinformatician, it becomes more challenging also. That a person in a like API or in a lab, you have a data. Okay, you just sequence something, you have a sequencing data, and then they want you to make cells out of the data. Okay, and there, because there were a lot of money involved, that they want it to become a, like they want to just publish a paper for the sake of paper, because there were a lot of money involved. But at the end of the day, it is not benefiting anyone, right? You are just either manipulating the data, or you are publishing the thing which will not be correct or which is not benefiting anyone. So uh, I guess nowadays students or the who researchers should be more aware about this thing, and they should have this power that okay, they could clearly deny that okay, they
Yes.
don't want to involve in this, and they can choose definitely a different path. And nowadays I guess if they clear these things, like if they want to approach to some another lab, there will be some sensible PI who will understand this thing, and they, I guess, they will entertain them into their lab.
Absolutely. And I think this is the most important part of this conversation, that all the researchers should feel very responsible for the money involved in it. Either it is public money or your own money, because you are responsible for all the single rupee you have used for your experiment. B, it is very important to differentiate between the things which you are okay doing, which you are not comfortable with. Saying no is very important part, which I believe in academia, India has to learn a lot. Either it is for the lab timings, working, the culture, or for the data manipulation. Students should always know that what are their rights and they should stand for it. There are
Absolutely.
peers. If you need help, Empowering Science Foundation is there to help you for that also. But the gist of the conversation is do whatever makes you happy, because that is what ensures your success. And with this, we will say thank you very much to Dr. Aditi for sharing the journey, motivating the new generation of researchers, and to all the researchers that stay tuned for more researcher celebrity conversations. And if you want to communicate with Dr. Aditi, you can write email to her. If you want Empowering Science Foundation to put you in touch with our researcher celebrities, we are always there. Write to us and then we will communicate or connect you with the one of our researcher celebrity you are interested in. Thank you, Aditi.
Thank you so much, sir, for inviting. Thank you.